Hello, fellow menstruators and allies. It is our monthly community call again for My Period Data is Mine, the first and only unhackable period tracker there is. We have Marcel,
Hiya.
and my name is Daniela. A lot has happened since last time round, and I just wonder, Marcel, would you like to start or would you like me to give a brief intro?
If you start with a brief intro, I think that'd be useful.
So since May, there are two main activities that have happened. First of all, reaching out to other people, making sure that at least on an individual basis, we are sharing the good news that my period data is there. That means that there is a period tracker that keeps your data on the phone, that has a strong password where you can choose whichever password you want, the passcode to be precise, whichever characters, language, input method, whatsoever. None of the data leaves your phone, none of the data goes via any kind of cell phone tower at all. So it's only on your phone. And we just started emailing people, letting people know, reaching out via various social media platforms, because it really is important that people like yourselves know about us, because there are a lot of people out there who menstruate and who would like to keep the specific details private and keep them to themselves. The other piece of good news, and this is where Marcel will be speaking a bit more on, is that we have finally sorted out our underlying data tables. Yes, the actual technology we have proven and it is working. You cannot hack into it. But what has happened since last time is that we have refined and worked on, well, what exactly are we tracking? And whilst we don't want to track things that have no impact and no real interest to anyone about a period. So we're only tracking those things that may be important in a conversation with your gynecologist, or if you're looking at the data yourself. For example, well, when was the last time you had a period, or when was the last time you had sex with a partner, and maybe it may have been without protection, things like that. What do we need in the data for you to make use of it and for you to gain information from it? And so I'm handing over to Marcel now so he can talk a little bit more about the technical side here.
Well, I think the key thing is that we've discussed the data that needs to be captured. I think that was the first and most important point. We had from our minimum viable product that we could capture the menstrual flow, we could capture the mood, and we could capture symptoms. But we found that obviously with the initial users that this wasn't sufficient. So getting feedback from those users, it was finding out what exactly do we need to capture. So we've basically sat down, created the data that needs to be captured. So the flow is not just light, medium, heavy, but also things like clots, small and big clots. What the user defines as how many there are and how important that is. We've also refined the moods. So we've had an interesting look into what a mood is and the difference between moods and emotions. Emotions is a common topic that people talk about, but it's not really reflective of what's going on in somebody's mind at the time of the day, during the day. So emotions are very short-lived, and that's something can be triggered by different moods that you might be having in that day. So if you wake up feeling irritable, that is a mood. That's something that will affect your day, but it will also then trigger emotions themselves that are something different. So what we want to do is attract the moods and not the emotions, because we want to understand how we're feeling, not what's actually happening on a day-to-day basis. So how are the hormones affecting moods? And if there's a mood that persists for several days, then we need to understand that as well. Especially if you've been a bit down. It's okay to be down, but if you've been down for several days and that's not changing, then that's something to be aware of. Along with that and other symptoms, pain and things like that, and just clarifying how we capture that data, and the difference between pain, which is obviously a fairly broad subject and that affects a lot of menstrual users, versus other symptoms, and trying to basically flesh that out a little bit as to what to capture. But I think the most important thing is that we want to be able to capture data that we haven't become aware of. So not only is the design flexible so that we can add data going forward, if there's different fields and different symptoms and things like that that we want to capture because that's what people demand, but users should also be able to create their own fields that they want to monitor and track. So if there's something specific to somebody, they should be able to decide that they want to track a particular whatever it is. You decide what it is that you want to track going forward. So you can create those fields, modify those fields, update them, and how is that managed as well. So I think it's very exciting from that point of view that we've now got a good data structure. We've looked at various other applications and seeing what data they capture. We've had discussions about whether it's relevant or not relevant, what's important, but also to have a look at it from a perspective of how do we then later on, once we've got this data, how do we monitor that? How do you look at it? How do you search through it? What is it that we want to be able to use, and how do we want to use that data? Both from an automated setting, so you can identify when your period is going to be, which is one of the basic ones, but also when you want to go to the doctor and you say, look, there's something that's been troubling me. It keeps coming up. Can you go back into your records and look up? And I think that's going to be a unique component to my period data spine as well. So I think it's been a really interesting discussion that we've had with people that want to use the product and how we're going to capture the data and move forward from that. So that should be, that at least gives me something to work on and move forward. It's been something a long time coming. So thanks to all the people that contributed.
Yes. So the reason why this is really important is twofold. First of all, the concept that my period data is mine is still the safest period tracker out there, that remains. In addition, the functionality with what is being tracked is coming up to par with all the other period trackers that you can find on the market. So that is really important. We have done a lot of research, as Marcel said, on what's happening. Emma said, because I just woke up really sad and it just hangs over me like a cloud the whole day. Or Emma said, because somebody ran over my cat. Different things, very, very different things. Um, also, we're very much focusing on the conversation in the doctor's office, as I mentioned, and also on finding your own patterns. So if you think, oh, that happened before, could it have something to do with my period? That you then have a really good analysis tool that you can use yourself to make sense of what's happening with your body. Those two things are really important to us. If you have further ideas and comments of what is important, do get in touch. As always, we have a friendly team. If you want to join and help us make it a reality and work on it quick, or make it come about quicker, do tell us as well. But the most important thing is once we have this version ready with this new data structure, a little bit more user interface, then we can release it to everyone who is out there. So this is why this is such a big step. So again, get in touch if you have any input, any feedback, anything you would like to see in it. Get in touch if you want to be an early user, for example, as well. Then you can always give us feedback on how you experience the use of it. If you just want to be lurking in the background, that is perfectly fine as well. As I mentioned, we will be releasing the next version, which is going to be the first official version soon. I can't promise, I can't give you a date at the moment, but it's going to be this year. It's not going to be something that's going to be pushed out much further. It will be this year. It will be in a few months' time. And then you can have it on your own phone, in your own time, and you can use it to your heart's content. And given the situation around the globe, maybe now is the time. Again, you can have it now in its current version. Do get in touch. You can help us. Again, do get in touch. And there is so much to do. We always appreciate some help. Or otherwise, just wait until you can download it.
Yeah.
That is, in a nutshell, that is it. That is, whilst it doesn't take a long time to talk about it, it's been a big step forward since last month. Um, it's been a long time coming. I'm incredibly happy about it. As I mentioned, you can be part of this journey. You can be an active part of this journey. You never have to give us your real name. We are always going to be very careful about any data we receive. After all, we are all about keeping data private. I do understand if people just want to be sitting by the sidelines and wait until you can download it. We are also looking into different ways of making it available to people. So, yes, the Google App Store is definitely one of the first options because it's easy and people have Android phones. We're also looking at other app stores out there just to make it a little bit more private, even so that there is no tracking of what you have downloaded onto your phone. We're not,
Yes.
sorry.
And that's exactly the thing, is that you will have different options. You can also download it, the application package itself, and install it on your phone, if you know how to do that kind of thing outside of the Google Play Store. So you should be able to install the application yourself. There's also other applications data being an open source project. That will be another store where you can download you know, applications that are open source. You can go and see the code. You can make sure that the code is not trying to track additional data, not trying to hack into your phone like some other applications. And I think it's worth pointing out as well that we've had a couple of discussions around the unhackable comment that you started
Yes,
the meeting with, that people go, "Oh, nothing's unhackable." And I think it's worth clarifying that a little bit.
yes,
There's
please.
Yes. So unhackable, we mean by any known method that we have at the moment to be able to decrypt the database that is stored on your phone. So Android phones, the main argument is that our Android phones are compromised, and particularly with Google announcing that they're no longer going to support the open source component to the Android phone. We need to be more and more aware of that the operating system itself on the phone is not reliable. So there is, and a lot of applications claim that they're encrypted because they're using the encryption that's on the phone. We don't rely on that. We use that as well. When your application will be encrypted by your phone, if that's how you've set up your phone. But we have an additional layer of encryption. The database itself is encrypted within the application using what's known as AES-256 encryption. And AES-256 encryption is considered secure. There's no known technology, no known algorithm, nothing that is available at this point in time that can decrypt AES-256. It is also considered quantum safe. So there's a lot of papers and news headlines and saying, "Oh, quantum computers are going to be able to decrypt our internet and be able to access all our data, and that we're no longer safe from quantum decryption." This is not covered within AES-256. There are RSA algorithms, which, yes, we know they can be decrypted using a quantum algorithm. So you have a quantum computer that's big enough, you can decrypt your RSA keys. We do not use RSA technology to decrypt our database. We use AES-256. And the best known quantum algorithm would only halve the amount of time that it would take to decrypt the database. And currently 256-bit encryption is considered, it's considered that it would take longer than the lifetime of the universe to decrypt that. So half the lifetime of the universe is probably what you're looking at with quantum computers. Obviously, there's nothing stopping a new algorithm, some new whiz kid working out how to decrypt it. There's also obviously the conspiracy theory that perhaps the US government already has that algorithm and they're using it to decrypt things. But as far as we know, and I think that's very difficult to basically say, yes, we know for sure, but as far as we know, nobody knows how to decrypt AES-256 encryption. And the weak link in all of these things is your passcode. If you type a passcode of 1234, sure, somebody picking up your phone is going to be able to hack into your data by typing 1234. If you're going to give someone your passcode or let someone see you type in your passcode, sure, they're going to be able to access your data. If you use a strong passcode and you don't share that passcode with anyone, nobody is going to be able to access your data, including you if you forget your password, because there's no way we can decrypt it for you. If you forget your passcode, you will need to create a new, start again with your data and start capturing your data again. We cannot, and there is no known way to decrypt that database for you. And that's what we mean by it's unhackable. Yeah. Doesn't matter the operating system that you're running on. It doesn't matter, whether it's the government that's trying to access your data. You will have an encrypted database as long as you don't give anyone your passcode, and that's where we're at. So, yeah, sure, unhackable is a bold statement to make, but we're going to stick with that, because unless you give your passcode, no known way to decrypt your database.
And if you give your passcodes to Pete Hegseth, everyone will know.
Yeah, it is the same thing with Signal. You invite them to a group chat. Signal is a secure application. We use the same approach that Signal uses to make sure that the application is secure. But it's only as secure as the person that's using it. That conversation was secret. No one knew that he was using Signal even to share the data, until somebody who wasn't supposed to be in that group chat, who's somebody invited it, and it's like giving us that password. That's when the data gets exposed. But the Signal secure chat message was there. It was secure, and only accessible to those that were part of that group chat.
Yes. It's a slight comment, maybe, but that's exactly the point. It does come down to you and only you and nobody else but you.
Yeah.
Can I just add a couple of things here quickly?
Of course.
So the data is yours and it will always be yours. And I can hear people asking, yes, but what about third parties? What about advertising? Surely they track me there. No. And it's like, no, we don't have advertising. There are no third parties. Nobody is, let's be honest, nobody's interested in an app that two crackpots build at home in their living room. Let's be honest, there's no money to be made because we give it away for free, and because there's no money to be made, nobody has an interest in it. The only people that will have an interest in it are people like myself who want to track the period data and want to be kept private. So if you're like me and maybe Texas thinks that you are a crime, then yes, then it's for you. Then it's definitely the tracker for you. Download it, see how it stacks up against your current period tracker. As I mentioned, there are no adverts, there are no third parties, there's no tracking. I really could not care less about your data, because all I'm interested in myself is my own data, and that my own data is safe. And that's why the name of the app as well is My Period Data is Mine, Your Period Data is Yours. You should have the right to keep it private. And that's that. There's nothing else to it. You want to keep it private, have it private. Have the app, have the technology support, and go forth and prosper. Because every time I say, well, it's really private, nobody can have access to it as long as you don't share your passcode. I often hear, well, pen and paper. And
That's the other one.
yeah, I had things stolen when I lived in a flat share, so I know people can get to my stuff. I had somebody go through the drawer, broke into my drawer at work to look through my notebook. So again, work is not safe. So if work and the home space are not safe, then pen and paper is not the option. It literally is not. And why not use technology? Literally use it to the best it can give you. And the best it can give you is really good encryption, keeping the data on your phone. And unless you share your passcode, it will be your data forever.
Yeah. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. You are in control of your data. It's your decision, who you share that data with, and that's how it should be.
and nobody else is involved. There's nobody watching you or watching the data. There's nobody interested in this app at this point, given how few people are involved. And that gives you freedom, real freedom to track everything that's going on in your body, create new fields if you like. I know I will, because I have some very specific, or it feels like my symptoms are very specific and a bit niche, maybe. I'm not going to go into details now, but that is
Please.
something other trackers don't have. So I've get the privacy, and I get a few other features, plus I get the analytics on it, and nobody has access to it. And I am so happy. And that's that. That's my little rant for today.
Well, not a rant. It's the point. It's exactly the point, and that's why we're creating this app.
Do share our channel, do share our Mastodon, do share our videos with other people who may be interested. Don't trust anyone who is out there for obvious reasons. We will put notes out as soon as we have the next version ready. I hope it's going to happen sooner rather than later. One more thing I must mention at this point is we have started work on our privacy policy to live up to the privacy policy principles that are out there. So there are 7 principles, and I just want to be really, really clear that nobody has access to your data. Neither do we want access to your data with the app. If you are if you sign up to our newsletter on the website, then we have your email address. And with that, the system we're using, WordPress, that will collect your IP address, for example. I'm not interested in tracking you. As I mentioned, I'm not even interested in your email address, because privacy is so important to me. If you follow us on mastodon.social, then we will know what your profile is called because you're following us. That's implied. But other than that, I don't check people out. I don't follow them. If somebody is nice to us, wonderful. If somebody hates on us, then I'm sorry, you have a shit life. Otherwise, yeah, join us. Join our little journey, either in the background for various reasons or actively in the foreground. Become our marketing manager if you like, and see you in our next meeting in July, the second Tuesday of the month at 4 o'clock UTC. Check out the time zone, please.
Third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday. Let me check that out. I'll put it in the comments below, and I will put it everywhere and send reminders beforehand as well. And with that, thanks a lot for listening, and see you next time. Bye bye.